disagree with because you said so earlier. You didn't disagree, but you inadvertently told me you disagreed, which was from the 1970s, which was David Pearson versus Richard Petty. And I have maintained, and I'm not sure if I said it in this show, but this has been my opinion for a long time. I think David Pearson is the greatest driver in NASCAR history. And I think it's very simple if you look at it like this. Pearson was a part-time driver for many years in like the 70s and late 70s and all that, early to late 70s for the Wood brothers. And Richard Petty was always a full-time driver for like 35 years. It should have been like 25 really, but I digress again. And Pearson has about half the statistics that Petty does. Petty's career line, everybody talks about is 200 career wins, 7 championships. Well, Pearson has 105 career wins and 3 championships in half the time. So let's just say, you expand for the same amount of time, he's on par, if not better than Petty. And there have been a number of races over the years where the Silver Foxes, they called them, outwitted or outraced Petty. And to me, I think that's what makes it a great rivalry.
Good.
Yeah. So
my number 4 is in football.
Okay.
The Bears and the Packers.
And that'll always be a good rivalry, just because just because of the fans.
Yeah,
the fans hate each other.
Definitely.
They vehemently hate each other, and I thought it would kind of quiet down a little bit when Favre retired. I mean, when he left, I should say he left Green Bay.
And if anything,
it's gotten worse because that's actually taking Green Bay back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah. So I definitely put that in there.
Well, my number 3 is Bears-Packers.
Oh, there you go.
It is. As far as football goes, it's probably the most well-known. There's a bunch of good football rivalries out there amongst teams. I mentioned Chiefs-Raiders, but that's a little one-sided in my opinion and to my delight. I personally get a kick out of the Broncos-Chiefs rivalry, but that's a personal thing. I mean, because I vehemently hate the Denver Broncos, and so I look forward to those games, and I'm terrified of those games because we might lose.
My number 3, actually, you could make a strong argument for being an all-time rivalry.
Okay.
But it's definitely a current one. Is the Red Sox and Yankees. I think I would be remiss if I didn't put that on the list.
It's hard not to, and especially since, again, we're talking about which one is more one-sided rivalries. For a long time, it was one-sided. Very much so now, especially actually in the last 5 years, it's become one-sided on Boston's side.
Oh, actually, it's yes, but it's actually pretty even.
It's even except for if you want to count like really like legitimate success, not just like who's beating who, but I mean like all-time. If you look at it like this, Red Sox in the last 5 years have 2 World Series. Yankees none. They've been to the playoffs like every year. The Yankees have
missed
not.
It, yeah.
I mean, consistently speaking.
And that eats Yankee fans alive.
Yeah. And so, if you want to look at it in the narrow window of the last 5 years, it has been almost one side on Boston's side. But yeah, it's been a very good rivalry over the years.
Okay, you're number 2.
Number 2, going to boxing, and you said you'd be remiss. I'd be remiss if I did not mention Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. It's probably the greatest boxing rivalry of all time, and if it weren't for Ali's mouth, it wouldn't have been a great rivalry. But that's what made it. He was one of the first athletes to be talking trash, at least that we publicly, and it was a very big rivalry at the time. I think it was a bit one-sided versus on Muhammad Ali's side, but people remember it, and I would say that gives it its stature. You're like, I don't know much about boxing.
No, I really don't.
I don't really either, but I recognize it. That was the one I said earlier. Like, I can't believe I couldn't think of that at first.
My number 2, back to football, and it's been a fantastic rivalry. I look forward to it every year. Patriots-Colts.
Now, here's the thing about Patriots-Colts, though. You know why it's a fantastic rivalry? Because the games are close. But if you look at purely win-loss record, it's very one-sided. It's New England.
Yeah, but it's such a good rivalry in the NFL, and it's actually a very well-known rivalry.
It's a great rivalry because we've lived through it. I mean, I don't want to I'm not trying to pick at your list, but that's kind of the big thing about it. I think history we will look back on and go, New England had Indy's number for a number of years, except for a couple of years there. They went through some turnover in roster, but last couple meetings, it's been New England.
Yeah, well, I don't know. To me, like,
It's exciting because, like I said, we lived through it, and we remember the first time they met, and everybody was talking about the Indianapolis Colts, and they went into New England, and it was snowing, and Peyton threw like 4 picks, and Brady was just steely efficient and all that, and it was these are a series of games where legends were made, where the legend of Tom Brady has been built, and so
I think
it's very nostalgic for us.
To me, I mean, that's the whole list is to you, and to me, that's definitely one of the top rivalries for me.
Well, and I understand that. I mean, I am like you, but I think, you know, I don't think history will be kind to this rivalry. I think, in retrospect, I know you're not doing all time, but I mean, like in 20 years, people I think will look back on this rivalry and say one-sided. It was overhyped. It wasn't as great as it was. People remember it being, but we remember it being great because we were there, which is rare. My number one is Yankees Red Sox, and I don't see how you can't, look at them as number one. I think by far.
My number one, actually, and I'm going to steal terms that you've used as far as competitiveness of the series, not being overhyped, the fans, everything, the Cubs-White Sox series. It is the number one rivalry, and obviously, of course, there's a personal thing there.
Yeah.
But it for sure, it is one of the nastiest. I mean, man, people and relationships, people get beat up over this rivalry. And by the way, I just want to say that if I'm correct, I don't know the exact wins, but I believe it's 37-37 for the two teams.
Yeah. And again, I'm gonna poke a little bit hole there. Okay. I would say that most rivalries will, if it's really intense, end up with those same things. I'm sure if we knew people that were Red Sox and Yankees fans, or we lived in Boston, we would see here you have the same thing. People broke up with each other over it. It's as big of, Red Sox Yankees is as big a thing in Boston as Cubs White Sox is here. You said it's a personal thing, and that's where it comes in. We live in Chicago, and so it's a bigger thing here. And you're a Cubs fan, so it's a bigger thing. Just like I said, I'd love to put Denver, Kansas City. I can't because it's not really a great rivalry. It's my rivalry that I'm invested in.
The thing is it's not just my rivalry. It's a hugely recognized.
I would say it's bigger. New York, Boston is bigger.
Yeah, and I don't know.
We're
running out of time, but
I think
could
the reason
debate
it's big to you is because you live here. It's bigger than the Yankees because you're here and you're invested in it. But again, I'm not trying to poke holes. I am, but I'm not. I don't mean to.
Oh no, I get it.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left, so we need to talk about real quick. We are moving to
LA.
Monday nights.
We're moving to Los Angeles.
We are moving to Monday nights or Tuesday nights, depending on which one I get worked out. But so next week, be looking for us Monday night and Tuesday night if you're watching us on FVTV. One of those 2 days we will air, and we're gonna. And that's a big thing. Also, we are going to start taping audio only, podcast only version of this. If you're listening to this, it won't be any big deal. You're just gonna get 2 episodes a week. But if you're watching us, be sure to check us out on iTunes. Look us up, Racin. Just do a power search for Racin and stuff. You'll find us, and you'll get a little extra Chris and Doug for you.
Yeah, we're expanding, so you get more Mondays and Fridays.
And next week, hopefully, we'll have more stuff than to talk about because we spent a lot of time on racing today. I'm not apologetic, but I want you to understand that if you're watching us for the football or basketball or any other talk, I'm sorry. It's just been kind of a blasé week for other sports except for auto racing.
So normally you'd be waiting until next Wednesday to hear from us, but
Wednesday or Thursday, even if you're watching,
you'll hear from us on Monday.
Yeah. Just real quick, want to thank FVTV. Want to thank Jamie Lara.
Jamie, thank you
for all his help. Everybody at Waubonsie Community College. It's been great so far. We look forward to moving to another day soon. Quick email. Website.
Oh, yeah. You can email us at racinandstuff, RACINN stuff @gmail.com. You can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/racinandstuff.
All right. So as always, I'm Doug.
And I'm Chris.
We'll talk to you later.